Wow. Good evening, everybody. To those on YouTube, yeah, I didn't mean to jump right up in your face with that particular image. From what I was seeing, it looked like the whole screen was full with my mug. It's like, what the hell is that? What is YouTube doing to me? They put my face on blast. I figured that might even offend some viewers. You don't need my face jumping out at you like that, right? But now I'm looking at it, and it looks like I'm just a circle in the middle of the screen, as it should be. Yeah. Anyway, thanks everyone. I'm glad you all came in. This is a mixture of true crime and politics, but not politics as you see them across social media screens. I am not going to preach to you who to vote for, what to vote for, who's right and who's wrong. I'm simply going to point out that you're all wrong, and you all need to step back and change your shit. So I'm waiting for Cletus. He's supposed to be coming up here at 9 o'clock if he remembers. I'll probably have a gentleman called 12 Gauge. He's another account that just started, and he's a pretty level-headed guy, easy to talk to. Got some pretty good knowledge. I can put in the YouTube channel. I can put a link if you want to come up into the into what they call a studio. I just call it a web browser, and have a conversation and discuss some of the topics, or add to the topics, or create, give us a topic. There's a link that you can actually come up into the stream for and talk, have a conversation with myself and anyone else that actually has been invited. If they show up, if they don't, then I will basically ridicule them both here and in person, because, why wouldn't you? And there you have it. So what's going on tonight, everybody? How the hell are you? We got a couple of interesting cases. One's called the Idaho 4 for politic people that aren't aware of it. And for true crime people, I'm sure you're all aware of it, especially if you're connected to YouTube. We do have some talk about the Idaho 4, and then also on the Sebastian Rogers case, the missing child in Tennessee, and how that's all turned into a horrifically disgusting, filthy, viewer-driven shit show. Okay? It's horrible. I just got word. Word on the street is old Cletus can't take it no more. He needs his spinach, and until he gets spinach, he's not coming up on the internet. He can't stand it no more. He's a bit overly offended and disgusted by the course of action, or the course that all of this case has taken with the 15-year-old boy that's missing. It's actually turned into a shit show about talking about the parents' past issues and divorces and exposing things about the child that none of us have any real right to be knowing. That I as a person that comes from a similar background to Sebastian as far as events, wouldn't want anybody telling the public whether I was missing or not. So there's just so much nonsense, and everybody feeding into the nonsense and going after the stepfather. And I'm sure, like everybody going after him, we all have fucking skeletons in our closet. But how does spending all your time trying to show you're better, more moral, more worthy than Chris? How does that move the ball to help the kid? It's offensive. It's absolutely offensive. And this happens in all things that these groups of people get online. It doesn't matter if it's YouTube or if it's Twitter. Politic people do the same thing. And they just go off the goddamn rails with personal stuff or side issues or the what if. And they come up with some horrific stories, man. And I don't know. As far as we know at this point in time, there is no crime. Now, that may change right after I said it, or it may never change. But the fact of the matter is, at this very moment in time, there is no crime as far as anybody can show in the Seth Rogers case. You have some accounts streaming about the inappropriateness of his parenting, or whether he should be a parent. You got other accounts streaming about him not wanting to get involved with Nancy Grace's lie detector test. Yeah, like all of us would do it. Every single one of you people talking shit about this guy, Chris, you would right away run over to Nancy Grace and let her be in control of your polygraph. You're all a bunch of liars, man. Bunch of hypocritical liars that need to fucking grow up. It's insane. Our entire world is ruled by the viewership like that. I said it last night, folks. I don't care if you think that you've accomplished something because you don't watch the mainstream media, you're the dumbest person walking the earth that's ever walked the earth. And believe me, you're not alone. You are fucking not alone. Millions and millions and millions of people make that claim with puff up their chest like they've accomplished something. I don't listen to the mainstream media. I don't trust them people. And then you come to alternative media, and what do? The exact same shit the media was doing. Holy Christ, how are we so blind to our own shit? Unbelievable. So that on a separate thought, and I'm going to bounce back and forth between true crime and whatever else. I want to bring up this particular individual. Her name is, or at least on Twitter, I'm going to post her info. Please follow her. She is actually much, much further ahead in discussing the issues of us coming together as a group of people to do something. There's her handle. I'd like people, if they can, to follow her on Twitter. If you're from Twitter, if you're from YouTube, her name is Just a Thought. She has a cool kind of intro. It's no measure of health. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Just think about that. It's not a measure of health to be adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And that's what we've all become. We've become adjusted, okay, to a sick society. And we think that we're healthy. We think because we know enough to stay away from even Fox News, right? And then we jump onto Twitter and we jump onto YouTube, and all your people that are creators or people that we consider talking heads, all they're doing here is exactly what they're doing on the media. Every topic they follow is a media-generated topic. Every single thing that you discuss only is being discussed because the media put it forward. I mean, how stupid are we, man? I'm just besides myself. I can't wrap my head around that. How could we all be that lost and confused? How come there's no one out there like what's her name again? Just a Thought. That's what her name is. We did a think tank that works solely to start the revolution, and we need it now. Now, I agree with her. And when I hear the word revolution, you know what I hear? I hear us all getting together to do something. Not necessarily anything that includes any violence, but at least getting together to do something as a group that's positive and productive. What up there, Mr. 12 Gauge? I did put a link in the room up above for StreamYard if you want to jump in here. That to me, this girl's her header says it all. I mean, everybody should copy her, and I'm going to ask her if we can. People that want to get together as a group to do the right thing for each other, right? Even in simple matters like user agreements, as I keep pointing out, that banner's fantastic. It's no measure of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. There you go, 12 Gauge. And there he is. I can't even tell you how deep that is, but how simple that is, what she's saying in that particular banner on her page. And I'm actually going to change up my entire Twitter page and YouTube page to have banners. I'm going to ask her if I could use this. It's somebody else. I'm sure I can, but I still would like to ask her.
What I walk into, Sarge?
Nothing bad. Nothing bad.
All right. I had to turn my cam off, man. I was sitting here shirtless. Didn't want to,
Yeah, don't be doing that. No?
I didn't want to steal your subs, when they saw the bod.
Yeah, I'm sure they would, because we've already discovered the actor that was going to play you in that next movie. And he played that. Who was the main character in Free Willy? I think that's who's going to play you.
Oh.
I've been trying to say that to people all day.
Oh, man, I busted your balls in my chat, I guess, I deserve that one.
as 12 Gauge starring Free Willy.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. No, I just, in this channel, like I was trying to explain in yours, this isn't politics necessarily in the aspect of issues. It's politics in the aspect of showing ourselves just how crazy we are and how we're really doing nothing to help or change anything. We're just piling on to the nonsense. So when somebody points out something like, as far as I know, there's no connection to Brian Kopaka, right? Or Brent. But yet people keep bringing out streams and including him and tying him to the Idaho 4 or insinuating he's connected or trying to make an argument. And there is no basis for that. If there were a basis for that, then okay. But there's never been anything that suggests that. You can think that, but why make a stream out of that? Why poison the waters with that?
Yeah,
Right?
I could see how you think that as well, you know, because it is character assassination to a point, you know. You're assassinating a character of someone who may not even have anything to do with it other than he was from Pullman, you know?
Yeah, and look, he's there. He's, you could point your finger at anybody, but then then when information is released that you can verify, you ignore that and you continue to talk about, for example, with Sebastian, or even in politics as an example, there's things people talk about that aren't going to move the bar. They're not going to fix anything. It's a constant rehashing of this outrage, right? And you create topics to instill more outrage in people. And in the end, nothing happens. The things that we don't want to happen keep happening because we're not trying to sit together as a group and say, what can we do to help change this? Right?
True.
And they're attacking the parents in this one case. I know you do politics, but this young boy, a 15-year-old kid, went missing in a situation where when the mother woke up the next morning and went to wake him up, he was gone, like vanished. And he didn't bring his phone. He didn't have his phone with him. His phone was left home. As far as she knew, he had on the clothes that he had wore the night before, and he left the house with no shoes. And there's no trace of the kid. It's literally like he vanished as a magic act. And you listen to the streams on this, and all these streamers, and even some of the participants that are directly related to this kid, are concentrating on attacking others involved here, whether it be the father, the stepfather is mainly the main target. And that's what people want to talk about. But what about the missing boy? What about what can we do to help find him? There's none of that going on with most of the streamers. And it's a horrific event that why are we tearing up the main father, stepfather?
Right.
They're digging up, his ex-wife came out and laid out this big thing about how bad of a human being he is. I'll tell you, my ex-wife, that guy Chris is a dream compared to probably the things my ex-wife would say. And I would promise you that most of them were false. Right? A scorned woman or even an irritated guy is going to trash their ex. Why is this woman even being invited to talk about or being brought into this Seth case? That woman had no place in this case, his ex-wife. Right? And all it did
I am not
was
well
attack the
versed
dad.
on that case. I just jump in time to time and I hear people talking about it. I still don't know all the in and outs, but it is tragic. Especially I was watching somebody's channel last night, and they were talking about how some creator took a picture and replaced it on an Amber Alert thing, and
Yeah,
how
that's
he
an
did it
interesting.
without permission and all this stuff. That is just
It's
too
worse
much.
than that. It's worse than that, 12 gauge. From what I can tell, and I don't care if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, please, folks, let me know. But at this point, I really don't care because what that person did was wrong. And what had already happened was, or there was a discussion of, they found a pair of glasses. And then all of a sudden, the next topic that comes out is that this person edited a picture to remove the kid's glasses. Right. So now,
Is she a family member? Is she a family
no,
member?
she's just some YouTuber looking for clicks. And the
Oh,
bottom line
wow.
is that the people in charge of looking for him use that photograph for a reason, right? And then it comes to find out the glasses that were found have absolutely nothing to do with the young man that's missing. They're just a pair of glasses that someone found. Okay. You could throw them in a lost and found at any restaurant in that area, and they would be as important as anywhere you put them. They mean nothing. Yet this woman went and edited a flyer to show the kid with no glasses. Right? You know what I mean? Because when the glasses were discovered, when that news came out, we didn't know whether they belonged to the kids or not. We didn't know if they were his. But then all of a sudden, this person edits a flyer and puts it out with that kid with no. Just the timing and the way everything ran. It's like, why would you do that? Why?
How is that legal?
I don't even want to get into the legality, but it's the name. But let me just say that the real problem isn't even some of these creators. It's that's what the audience tunes into. Right. And then they got the nerve to complain about Nancy Grace when Nancy Grace does that. So what are we doing? We do it on the internet. They do it on the mainstream media, but we're bigger than the mainstream media. We know enough not to watch that. So what do? We do the same thing that they do, only we do it in our own corner. And it makes it, in other words, nothing gets accomplished. And we're all stuck in this circle jerk. There seems to be no exit.
Very true. Very true.
That's where the politics come into this, because it's even more viral in the politics and how people like they posted a picture yesterday of Taiwan, of buildings collapsing in Taiwan as the earthquake, and they show all of these high rises tipping over and collapsing. That's not true. That was a demolition project in China in 2020. But people then label it as the damage happening in Taiwan, and they post it, and everybody runs with it thinking it's true. What is wrong with us, and what is wrong with these people posting that nonsense? You know, I know you were talking. Go ahead.
I believe, no, I'm not going to say believe. I think that, people just have too much time on their hands and their imagination runs wild, and they want to be the first one to have the scoop, even if it's not true. They want to exaggerate a word, or they want to, put exclamation points behind it, or highlight it or whatever, just to get you to come and look.
For those in true crime, including you, let me ask you a couple of simple questions. What was the outcome of the Donna Eyes case? Do you remember that?
No.
It was where that woman went missing from a hospital and was found dead.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember.
What did we learn? What is the final word on that? Do we have it?
No.
Okay. How about those 3 guys that froze to death in Kansas City? Do we have the final word on that?
No.
Okay. And what about all the drama and all the bullshit that was fed into the public purview from YouTube about those situations? What about with Donna Imes, where everybody, all of us high-ranking righteous people decided the hospital was negligent, the cop was negligent, right? Immediately, all the drama. Look into the cop, look into the hospital. How dare the hospital do this? And in the end, the truth of the matter is, nor the hospital nor the policeman did anything inappropriate whatsoever. But for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then immediately, once people realized that, they walked away. They didn't even stick around to see what really the cause of death was for that. They didn't care. That's the problem with the viewer, not the streamer, you see?
Yeah.
Because viewers allow that to happen. Viewers aren't demanding and understanding. Finalize this. Unless the news comes out and says they find Sebastian, this will go away, and all of the chaos is all that comes from it. We get to disparage the stepfather. We get to get the father, the real father, to go up and make a GoFundMe, and he's disparaging the stepfather, right? It goes nowhere. This poor kid gets no help. And as soon as this drama dies down, this will go in the back, just like the Kansas City did, and the Donna Eyes did, and so many other cases have, because the viewer doesn't have the level of drama that they're requiring. It's fucking sick, bro.
Well, another thing is that I notice is, it's hard for me to talk like this because I am, I have a channel, but I'm off the record right now because I'm on your panel, right? I get a pass, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Listen, speak your piece on here. Don't hold back.
Okay. I think that whenever somebody has a buildup on a case, it's because they have a reenactment of something that they had go on in their lives, and they're basically just living the moment out again,
Could be.
anticipating a different result. It's kind of like if you've ever had, I had an uncle that was murdered, okay? And they caught his killers, they, stood trial, all that. But let's say they didn't catch him, or that I didn't grieve that appropriately. Well, every time that I heard about a death, it would recreate that reenactment in me, and I'd get hyper vigilant in order to try to help this person because I felt so helpless at one point in my life. So if I can help, in my mind, if I can help this person with as much vigorousy as I can, then I'm healing myself. And that's not true. That's not true at all. And, it's unfortunate that some people do not see that this is what's going on. Does that make sense at all?
It's just yeah, somewhat. But I understand to the point that there is something in us that connects to that. And once you can connect with something, then unfortunately your past experiences do overshadow. What is it now? Oh, yeah, they do play a part in your observational opinions of what you're seeing when something does touch close to something you've experienced in your life, especially if it's something bad, right?
Yeah.
And so you having that experience when you get involved with other cases where someone's life has been taken, there is always that's always going to be a part of you, and that's always going to factor into your views and maybe your thought processing of what you're seeing, and that's human nature. I get that. What I
Well,
don't
to
get
be
is
fair, also think of it like this. I'm playing the devil's advocate right now. Let's say that you haven't heard about the Idaho 4 case,
right.
and you live in a part of the world where you don't have the internet, but you can go to a cafe or something or whatever, and all of a sudden you get intrigued with that case, and you find out that you can start your own channel on YouTube. So you start from scratch, and you're posting all these things that people have already seen in a year's worth of time. You're going over things that people have already rehashed a million times over. That's why every day we see the grub truck videos. That's why every day we see the Linda Lane footage, stuff like that. Because it's annoying. I get it because I
So I,
think, well,
I
man,
can I want to interrupt you and say if it's new creators doing it, I get it. But these aren't new creators. A lot of these, the propensity of is creators that have been connected to this since it started.
well, yeah, yeah, you're right.
Okay, I mean, and they're bringing up stuff like, what was Kaylee pregnant?
I
Why would
saw
that be
that.
a conversation worthy of having? Can someone explain to me how that has any bearing in reality when there's no suggestion and any evidentiary release or any statement from the families that young woman was pregnant? So why even consider it? Why is that a conversation? It makes no sense to me. Do you follow what I'm saying?
I get you loud and clear, buddy. I get you. You know, for the
That to
same
me is
reason that possibly Xana was pregnant, or they cut her fingers off, or they
yeah, they
took Kaylee's heart, or whatever. The same.
bullshit.
Yeah, reaching to find answers. You're right. They're reaching. They're reaching extremely far. It's
Right, but listen,
inappropriate.
if if you want it, you're not reaching. I think I'm having a tough time accepting that is a fair enough response because it's not
Well, I
really
was reading that from the
fairness.
chat.
Yeah, it's from the chat. No, and to the person in the chat, I think you're being overly fair to the viewer. I think what's happened here is that this has all generally become entertainment, and entertainment is always drama, and we view our entire world through the lens of drama as the viewership, not just the creators. And that's why creators like when that one dude was saying there was tunnels, right? When that one dude was saying there was blood on a roof, when there was that one dude saying maybe they parachuted in. These
Yeah.
crazy conspiracy theories, right? And the same thing. That's exactly when you start bringing up whether one of those girls is pregnant, you're creating a conspiracy theory. And the sad part about that is some people will take that to heart and think it's real. Okay. And it'll come out, it's absolutely going to be taken out of context. Just like they're doing with that father, the stepfather, Chris, in the Sebastian Rogers case, where everything is focusing on destroying that guy. To what end, I don't know. Okay. To how anybody thinks that that's okay, I can't fathom. And the same thing when it comes to these different cases with Donna Imes, with the Kansas City Three, and all of the drama attacks on all of these different issues that absolutely, in the end, had zero fuck to do with anything.
You
And
know,
yet the
one
viewer
part that
keeps
I
keeps
don't
going.
understand about all of this that you're talking about is
Mhm.
how quickly people side up. Either you're one side or the other. You know, I had a person
Correct.
in my chat the other night insinuate that I'm a guilter. I don't even know what that word means. I mean, I don't even care to know, but the fact that somebody called
That
me a
comes from
name,
Gitta. Gitta created that.
yeah, you know, yeah, and you know, to be called a name, it's like, what gives you the right to call me anything, you know, other than my name, you know, and that people choose sides, and if you don't believe what I believe, then you're this.
That's it right there. Because you've been very good about it. And I was going to bring this in. I'm glad you opened that door. But you've said a number of times on this little broadcast that I mean, I think, because you and I had a discussion about that, right?
Yeah.
And I suspect that you're catching yourself because you understand the value and not believing in information. Thinking about it is awesome. Dissecting it, discussing it, reviewing it, trying to make conclusions from it, awesome. But to believe in something means that you need no other fact. Your mind is made up. It doesn't matter what gets put in front of you. That's what you believe. And that's the other problem with this drama laden audience, okay? Is that they do believe rather than just assemble the facts, and they're gonna stack up where they stack up, and that's that. Somehow it's as if people have been taught how to not think,
Yeah.
right?
It's kind of like in a lot of panels I used to hear. I don't know anymore because they really aren't talking about Idaho 4 right now. They might be tomorrow after the hearing today. But um, one thing I used to always hear is they should just grab them up and interrogate them. Well, you can't just interrogate somebody who's not a suspect and without evidence. You know what I mean? You must
Yeah.
interview somebody first as a witness to see if they have any kind of correlation to the crime.
Right.
But people's misunderstanding of wording because they hear these words so easily used on TV or in movies and things of that nature, instantly they just reflect what they feel that they know. They don't look for facts.
Right. And what people here's something I think that most viewers will vehemently disagree with. But we're all programmed in our responses. They're not your own. They're just not. So, for instance, when I point out to many people that if we get together, we, and I mean numerous numbers of us, attempt to get together, and then propose a site like X, alter its user agreement, which will enshrine my personal data in privacy that can't be broke, not sell it, not share it, not market it, and get any company to actually capitulate to that, which is a legitimate request from the people using your service, right? I
Hmm.
suffer identity theft risk. I suffer credit card theft risk because businesses trade our valuable private data. We can all agree with that, right? So why don't we all get together and demand some of these sites or companies stop doing it, or we walk away? There's other places you, if this drama means that much to you, there's other places you can continue it. But wouldn't it mean much more to all of us if what we did was something that helped all of us without any undue stress or effort on our own behalf? You'd have to do nothing extra than join the drama media that they call social media, and then get together and make a decision to demand exchange that user agreement and see how Elon deals with it. And the more people you can add to going along with that, the more able you are to make changes. And time would be better spent to collect that group of people to do something than it would be talking about the nonsense in somebody's criminal cases. I don't suspect any one of the people involved in this parenting of this young person doesn't have skeletons in their closet. And I don't know if they're relevant, and I don't really want to care what they are. I don't see how it's relevant to the situation as laid out. The same thing when you get into Koberger. Remember earlier I was pointing out there's been no solid confirmation of any egregious behavior or lifestyles on that Koberger himself. There's none. And until there is, it's not worth discussing. I don't want to assume that the kid was predisposed to be a murderer because there's no information to base that on. I don't also want to propose that because there isn't any information, it couldn't be him. I don't want to go to that extreme anywhere, right? I don't even want to have that discussion because there's nothing to support having it. You follow me?
Indeed.
It's such a circle jerk, and the viewer seems to just play it up and follow it around like a little it's like a dog chasing a treat.
Well, one thing that always gets thrown out there is, well, it's good to discuss the case. It's good to discuss what you think on the case. This isn't me saying this. This is what I hear most of the time.
No, I know. I 100% follow you. I hear that all the time.
And whenever you tell somebody, well, it's okay to discuss things that you don't understand, but when you go interjecting things that aren't true, that's when it becomes a problem.
Or you start adding suppositions that can't be supported. For instance, we can get into a whole bunch of stuff. When you bring in things, for instance, we're all upset. We all feel this child's missing, right? And we all suspect because the circumstances are so unusual, it has to be one of those close to him. And I can accept that be reasonably accepted and that be people's point of view. However, when information's released, at least on this gentleman, Chris, the information we have that's never been contradicted or even challenged is that he was 3.5 hours away when this young kid went missing. 3.5 hour drive away. And he'd been there long before the kid ever went missing. So that's not questioned. So for people to start destroying his character, first you have to show me how that even is going to help find the kid. But even more so, if you can't break the chain that this guy was actually in Nashville when this young stepson of his went missing, then you can't say he did anything other than what he was supposed to do at work. In other words, you can't tie him directly and insinuate that there's criminal act by him because we know he was 3.5 hours away. So to continue to attack this guy and make fun of him or go after his past, and it's insane. Don't the
Well, I haven't seen them do that to the other father, the biological father.
But they will. The herd has yet to circle the field, right?
Yeah.
And they did this they did this with Donna Imes. They did this and they do it in the Idaho 4. They're doing it with Sebastian. They did it with the Kansas City 3. And just so viewers know, in true crime, I've only been around for about a year. It'll be a year, January, a year and a month. So, right, something like that. Not that long. So I don't have the history of the last 10 years and how YouTube people have handled crime, true crime. But these topics are not true crime related. Telling me what happened with his past marriage is not true crime related. It just isn't, and it need not be part of. But so that's what I want to hope to do is to try to point out that we are our own problem. We stick with the drama and ignore trying to come together to do something positive as a group. That needs to change.
Sarge, let me echo on what you're saying here. There's a case here in Texas. This kid, he was going to college down by the coast in Corpus Christi, which is the coast along the Gulf of Mexico. He's going to college down there. Well, he lived down there with his roommates. He stepped out, took the dog out, put the dog back in, ordered an Uber food thing or whatever, and vanished without a trace. No shoes on, no cell phone, or he had a cell phone, but his cell phone died. Here it is a month and something later. Him and Sebastian vanished around the same time. But yeah,
how old was this person?
He was, I think he was 20, 21, something like that.
Okay. So see, now that's great true crime work right there. There may be no connection between these crimes at all. However, the coincidentality of it means we should be paying attention to another missing person under similar circumstances. Now that 12 gauge is exactly how you do it. That's fantastic. And if you're gonna, and that's what I mean. I don't want people to stop streaming, but what you just did is exactly the dose of reality we all need. There are relevant issues, both political and criminal, that can be daisy chained together or found and discussed without having to spend all of our time with this drama, nonsense, nightmare bullshit. Calling Trump names, calling Biden names, going after this guy, going after that guy, going after the father. You see, the pattern crosses all races, all nationalities, and all topics. It's almost as if we've turned ourselves into the largest drama audience the earth has ever seen. And that's
this is
awesome.
reality TV to the extreme.
Get that guy's name and a picture of him if they've got it, and his info, and post that stuff up.
Well, I did. I've done videos on my page on him, and I've posted posters and things of that nature. His case it's barely starting to get momentum. I saw Nancy Grace do a thing on him, and I saw somebody else do one. I think it was Chris McDonough. I'm not sure, but it's barely making. The reason his didn't kick up a lot of attention, I believe, or I think, is because Riley Strain was in the middle. They were looking for Riley during the last part, and he went missing. So he wasn't getting the exposure that he needed at that time. But now, Sebastian. I'm not saying Sebastian needs to get any less attention. His is extreme. He needs to come home. But all the drama that's being created, all the just like the Idaho 4 case, they were doxing people, and they were connecting people to people's employers and this and that and the other, and getting financial records and all this other stuff. For what reason? How did that help the case?
Doesn't help the case, and yet that's the stuff people seem to want to be attracted to. And I think, especially when it comes to the particular poster in the glasses issue, the last thing a creator should do is become the topic. And if you do, even if you're right, you need to come out and apologize or do something to let the viewer know. But to me, I don't know if you could save yourself, but more importantly, the viewer, if the viewer understands that that's just inappropriate on a high level, then you need to just walk away from the provider of that information. It's not that hard for people to make change. It really isn't. And somehow we've convinced ourselves that we're helpless. And then this creator becomes a topic, and then there's more drama taken away. There's more drama added to the mix that again avoids talking about the young man you just said I didn't hear about until you. So I appreciate that immensely. But that should be part of the discussion with Seth Rogers, not this girl's poster, not the dad's past.
Well, there's also 2 mothers that are missing in Oklahoma. They vanished going to pick up kids. They found supposedly a bloody hammer in the back of the car that was abandoned. The mother had supervision for the children. The father's in prison. This is the information that I got this far. And the lady that was supervising the visitation, she was a pastor, I think, and she was just giving her a ride out there so she could have somebody to supervise her visitation, and they both vanished. Nobody knows anything. They were in the middle of nowhere.
That's what I mean. There's a lot more that people can do. There's a lot more people can discuss and get involved in that has the potential for us to at least. But it seems like every case that comes up 12 gauge turns into this rivalry between streamers, and the rivalry between trying to suck the audience in and the bullshit, and it's groupthink. I fall for it too. That's the amazing thing with groupthink. If you're in a chat room and everybody's going on with a particular, we'll call it conspiracy theory, but we'll just say theory, right? And everybody gets caught. You get caught up in the role, and it's so contagious because that groupthink. You can actually experience it sometimes. If you stand back and watch, you'll see yourself getting caught up in these fucking whirlwinds. And when you stand back, you gotta ask yourself, would any of this stuff be shit you'd want to have a conversation with Chris about? Is any of this shit really going to move the dial on finding Seth? Or how about a similar disappearance in Texas? That
Well, you
might
just
have
said a lot.
more
You
more
just said
more
a lot
more
right
means to
there.
move.
Would you have the conversation that you're having online? Could you, with a clear conscience, sit across from the father, the mother, the stepmother, the the stepfather? Could you look them in the eye and say half the stuff that you blurt out online? Could you, with a good conscience,
Right,
with no qualms whatsoever, do all the things that you're doing online in front of these people? Most
right.
people
So
could, but
here's here's what I want to ask you. Doesn't it make sense for us more to ask each other if we can't do something different? Right? Rather than having when you're in the middle of all these discussions, and that's why I kind of split this between true crime and politics, because that to me are the two biggest groups that really, if they just got together to do something, the change would be immediate. You'd feel like heroes, each and every one of you, because you would be, because it would be the first step to changing all this chaos that we're surrounded by. We shouldn't be wasting our time on the background of this personal man's issues, the father. We just shouldn't. And we shouldn't be doing posters of a kid that aren't right. We shouldn't be talking about people urinating on Ethan's face or injecting information that's unverifiable to prove your point so that you could be right. You invent something like, how do we know they didn't do a U-turn? Well, I can't talk about whether someone did a U-turn because there's no evidence that they did. And to interject that is just nonsense. And you create conversations and drama. And for what? How does that change the dial of accomplishing anything other than the same old shit you got from the mainstream media? That's who we've all become. And we've become that as viewers. And the providers that you're seeing doing this are the direct result of what the viewers are asking for. So the viewers themselves are as guilty as the provider by far.
I've been in chats where I've tried to have intellectual conversation and I get treated like a piranha. People don't talk to me, which I'm okay with. I'm just,
Their loss.
I'm just,
You're every bit as smart as anyone I've talked to,
right.
including myself. And I think, listen, and I want to say this, I'm kind of gruff and I'm kind of like, pointing my finger at everybody. I'm as guilty of it too. But I'm just saying what I've learned from being guilty of it is what I'm trying to share with people. The only change that can ever happen is if we change, right? You can't change
Right.
the location of a drug and think I ain't gonna get it. Okay, I need to change. You can't talk and disparage and go into all of these criminal cases of all the ones that I mentioned and deal with all this false accusation drama and conspiracy theories and just keep playing that fucking song over and over again. Listen, I'm Asperger's. I do play songs over and over again of certain bands. I'll listen to the same song 100 times. I don't mind. But that's got nothing to do with how I should think or address life. But that's how people seem to be addressing this ability to exchange information with each other.
I mean, the more that you interject yourself in the case, does that really mean that you care more than the family could ever care? That's the question that I often ask is some of these people that interject themselves, these creators that interject themselves into these cases, understand people by nature are good. They're inherently good. They want to care. They want to do good.
Look at you
But
when you're wrong.
there's a level of understanding that okay, you're harming now. You've stepped over the line. They're not your kids. That's not your kid. That's not your family member. You're harming the family because you're constantly bringing this up to the forefront and adding to the trauma.
Yeah.
Like you just said, Kaylee was pregnant. That was supposedly something that I saw today too. I saw that in big blue letters. Was Kaylee pregnant?
And why? Yeah. And do you agree that that's just an irrelevant topic that need not happen?
What's the purpose?
Exactly. It makes no sense. And yet all the viewers flock to it. And that's what I'm saying. So that creator exists because he knows all these viewers are going to flock to it. And then that same person will tell you that they only deal in fact, they never lie, and they're not doing this for the money, right? And let me just say, if that's true, then be like me and never even put yourself in a position to get money from doing this, right?
Right.
Mine is I'm actually spending personal money out of my own pocket to do this. I'm not. You don't see any place for a donation or anything on anywhere I stream. You won't. And if in fact you do, it's because there's enough members that are going to need things that are going to have to come out of their own pocket. And rather than do that, any donations would go to that. So
Right.
if you needed a membership to the New York Times, or you needed something because we have this goal and this group is working on this goal and people in that group are putting in their time, the money would be used only for that. It wouldn't be used for my personal. No way, shape, or fucking form would it come into my pocket. I don't.
Right. Exactly.
If I ever get to that point,
that's why I started my channel. I wanted to have a platform where I could talk about different things to give people hope, to give them, if they're hurting, they could, maybe something I say, maybe if I say it different, maybe if I talk about different things, maybe they could feel that they're not alone, because there's a lot of people that won't go to meetings. There's a lot of people that won't go to a therapist. There's a lot of people that won't do anything. But if you can hear somebody talking about something you can relate to that gives you hope, then you've already planted the seed, and it, that's good enough.
Right. Well, I'm that tough love therapist where I like to tell everybody right now, cut it the fuck out. Stop.
Hey, I heard Cluminati say something today in her chat, and it cracked me the hell up. I mean, she cracked me up. Say? But she said, if I saw I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember how she said it, and I can't use her twang to say it either. But she said something to the effect of, we ought to bring back throat punching or something like that,
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? That is some funny shit right there,
You know what I said?
She has a lot of great insight as well, and I'm not just kissing ass because she's in the chat, but I've watched her for a while now. Her husband as well, or her husband to be.
Cletus.
Cletus.
That's my nickname for my son.
I was watching that night that you gave him the nickname.
I did give him that nickname. It sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it gets repeated enough because you're around me enough, then everybody picks it up, and the next thing you know, this guy's got an ID change for free. There's Cletus.
Yeah. Does he have a T-shirt yet? Does he have a T-shirt yet that says Cletus?
I don't know. They should. I think Clue should put that in her merch. Here's the other thing too. Let me just say something. Here's the other thing. Because I'm not going to say this often, because I don't want people to get the wrong fucking idea. Every one of these creators are very capable people. I don't care if they're on Twitter or they're on YouTube. Some of these creators show an exceptional ability to connect dots, dig, research, and provide information. There is no doubt in my mind about that. And this goes for every single person that views these fucking shows. You all have an incredible ability to understand and obtain data and parse that data. It's just mind-boggling. You don't even know it, but you all have that ability. But somehow you let that ability take a back seat, and it's been supplemented by drama, okay, and conspiracy theories and bullshit that need not be. Take that away and put to good use those qualities you all have, and you'd be amazed at what you can do.
Exactly.
Literally amazed.
You're right on point right there.
You might have connections with 10, 20, 30 million around the country. You could have had 1,500 people surround that town that first day for this kid. The power of people, that's what makes America unique. We are the government. And we were smart enough to create this device that allows us to connect one-on-one with millions. Instantly, all around the globe. You could talk to anybody you want, as many people as you want, without any chaos at all. First time in human history. And what's it been turned into? A drama-laden brainwashing device that does no good for the common man. Except if you want to come up here and take advantage of your common man and keep feeding them drama so that you can get clicks and make money. It has done that. Okay.
Well, I agree with what you said. Unfortunately, I gotta hop on down off of here. I'm glad that you got a platform and you're doing great stuff. The people in the chat, you guys keep supporting this guy, keep coming back. He has a lot of valuable information, a lot of valuable insight and positivity. And I'm going to plug my channel since you plugged yours.
Yeah, go
Okay.
right ahead.
My name is 12 Gauge, and I have a channel over on the other side of this, wherever YouTube.
You could put a link. Put a link in StreamYard. Put your link in. Don't hide, man. Put it in there.
Man, I don't want to do all that.
If that ain't too much work, don't make it too much work. Put your link in and then get the hell out of here. Okay.
All right, let me find the link.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of different stuff on mine that, it's quite boring sometimes, but maybe you'll find something you'd like.
No, but you're mellow and you can have all sides 360-degree conversation with you. And I suspect that there's many, many, many people like us that can do that. Unfortunately, there isn't any outlet or anybody taking the lead to remind people. Okay, there's much more we can do than we can even suspect.
You know how popular I am? I gain one, I lose one. I gain one, I lose one. That's how popular I am.
Dude, I got 76. I got 76 subscribers, and I got eight people in here. On Twitter, I've got 57 views and about 2,400 subscribers or followers.
You guys have a beautiful night. Thank you, Sarge, for having me.
Thank you, buddy.
All right. See you later.
So let's see. Copy. Here it is if anybody wants to come up. There's a link to the StreamYard that'll bring you right up into the talking part where 12 Gauge is taking his leave. All the brew wrenches are gone. Yeah. Yeah. That's an interesting point there, D. Carol. I think I don't think people should have been surprised. But for those of you, and probably many of you that are on Twitter, you probably aren't in this room because you knew me from the past or something. But I really had a change, and I didn't have a change. I said in the beginning he's either with us or against us when I was doing all that research in politics, and and the results were quite staggering. And they actually gave me a view, they forced me to view the actions of what happened those 4 years and the ending result of the loss of the election, how COVID was dealt with. They forced me to look at it from a more centrist kind of view, and in that centrist view, they're all playing us. Okay, we are sheep. We actually behave like sheep if we want to be really honest with ourselves, right? We all in a herd go where we're told, do what we're told, do what we say what we say, da 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 da. And yet we all think we're all original thinkers, that all these ideas in our heads are original and they're well reasoned. Like when people say, "Oh, you can get together, you changing user agreements ain't going to change anything." Well, I guess you can say that, but it's like saying the kid don't need to take a first step to walk. We need to try to pool our efforts and pool our economic ability and start demanding as citizens of this country with our wallets for things to be corrected, things that are definitely wrong, things that affect people in a negative way. When it comes to user agreements, your level of susceptibility to criminal activity rises exponentially when your information isn't protected. That's one big issue. All the batteries that we use, that enslaves 40 million people. That allows third world dictatorships to pay their people almost nothing so that you and I can have a cell phone. We need better battery technology. And we as a group, a large group of people, can demand that. My point is there's so much that we could do if we come together as a group of people rather than arguing about this drama. And Trump said this and Biden said that. Jesus Christ. Chris did this, Seth did this, Katie did that, the Donna Eyes did that, and Brian did that, and Bert did that, and Joe did this. And really? We can't find a simpler, more entertaining way to enjoy our time on this amazing fucking instant communication box I call the pondering box. We're going to come up here and ponder things that are going to have no impact in your life or anybody's life at all. And yet, things that could have an impact in our lives, we're convinced that we have no fucking influence on those. And we'll argue how people aren't going to want this, and you'll give 8,000 reasons why some of the points that I'm making are and the biggest suggestion that we all come together and do something is not possible, and you're convinced people aren't going to get involved doing it, and you're one of those people, and you don't realize that you're brainwashed to think and say that and act on that. That's what's keeping us. That's what keeps people apart. We're all convinced in one way, shape, or form. And to convince us even more, these political arrests, these mishandlings, the mishandlings of criminal cases, the blatant in our face, what looks to be violation of people's constitutional limit. The government has a constitutional limit. I don't have a right to free speech. The government is denied, absolutely denied, to interfere with my speech. That's what that says. It doesn't say you got the right to anything. You don't have a right to a gun. That's not what that document says. It states very clearly the government shall not, it shall not be infringed, right? That's the government they're talking about. Who else could infringe your rights? And what have we accepted as a group of people in this country? We've accepted that those same infringements that the government can't make into our personal life, we've accepted that it's okay, business can do that in our personal life. Okay for business to do this? Then why isn't it okay for fucking China to come here and directly do this? Which they're doing through business anyway. But why do they got to play this hide and go seek game about it? You see, that's what I mean. We act like we're powerless. We act like there's nothing we can do with it. Blah, and you're programmed to say that. You're programmed to stick to that argument. That argument is fake. It doesn't have any basis in reality except for the fact that you adhere to it. If you stop adhering to that way of thinking, then I'm telling you, I guarantee it, that things will change. Will it take time? Sure. All the things I want changed, I'm sure the time it's going to take to affect them, and most of them things you and I would all agree with. Most of those things, I'll probably be dead before they're all there. But the point is, when are we going to get together and start even trying? Now, let me just say this before I close the stream. We do this stuff already on a small scale, but we don't do it with any real thought. We did it to Budweiser as an example, and we've done it to other businesses. And the reasoning behind that is all drama-laden reasons. When you really get down and go look at the Budweiser situation, all the drama around the transgender advertising that beer caused a knee-jerk reaction from millions of people to go after Budweiser. I just think to myself, what the fuck, really? But you're not going to have that problem when somebody's enslaving 40 million people to get a battery. You're not going to have that problem when someone's stealing, or they're forcing you to sign over your personal data. You're not going to have that problem, but you're going to have a problem when Budweiser uses a trans. I'm just besides myself with trying to reconcile how that fucking makes sense, man. Because you did have an impact at Budweiser. Yeah. Okay. And so there's an example of, can we make a difference? Absolutely we can. The thing we need to do, though, is to come together. I don't care what the media pushes. That's what I'm trying to say. This is supposed to be social media. We don't do anything in the way of being a productive media outlet to all we do is contradict their drama. That's the other thing that's stunning to me, is that no matter what the media that everybody claims lies, whatever they say becomes our topic, and we become the spreader of their information. Your information is spread between hundreds of millions of people. Okay? That's what happens. It gets disseminated across a wide spectrum of social media. What is it that you're talking about? The issue some asshole at an opinion show on one of those network news agencies said something. And then boom. Right? They start the drama about the father. And then all of the true crime people are talking about the father's drama. And that's the most amazing thing about it all. Especially in politics. Everything in politics that's discussed, everybody thinks there's an original thought. You've been convinced to think that you're pushing back against the system. And in fact, whatever outrage that they've pushed today into the sphere of what they call media, that you pick up to discuss and attack or contradict, it only spreads because you in fact do that. If you didn't respond to that, if you provided your own media of own things that matter, these missing people matter, these murdered people matter, these people coming across the border and disappearing matter, right? And people will use that as an argument to push back. But why aren't people just focusing on the argument and ignoring that? There's millions of issues we could address. How business has corrupted our politics. There's so many things we as a group could push back on. And yet, we don't. We get led by the nose. And even people that are creating these streams and creating these tweets, they don't even realize that what they're doing is they're helping tear everything apart is what they're doing. Because the things that truly matter, folks, aren't being discussed and aren't being paid attention to. And I know the corrupt politics and the corrupt law and all of those other, I know that they're the matter. They're very important issues, but you absolutely can't fix them by just giving them lip service. That's all we've come to be. We've become a nation of lip service, not a nation of doers, but a nation of talkers. And although I think talking is fine, I think talking about the drama is ridiculous. I've got a television that I pay $83 a month to watch drama on in the background while I read a book. I've got drama. I don't need to come up here and dig into whether Chris Proudfoot, his wife was right or wrong, or any of the nonsense, or the birth father, Seth, going after the stepfather and the mother. To what end? Why the fuck is he doing that to begin with, right? And why are we not calling him on it? Saying, wait, does this have anything to do with Seth Mifflin? Is this going to help us find the kid? Is this relevant? Nobody holds anybody to any damn standards. Anyway, everybody stay out of trouble. Or actually, if you get in trouble, don't get caught, but make sure the trouble was worth it because you had fun doing it, right? Trouble can be good sometimes. And we will talk to you again. I want to be thankful that Mr. 12 Gauge came up. And Cletus japped me. Yeah, I was japped. But that's okay. Good night, everyone.